This is the second of our two screencasts so far on charts. The first screencast we just set up to add some rating data. Now we're going to add charts. To do this, we're going to want to add some kind of a dashboard page that will show us various charts. In this screencast, we're going to show a pie chart that shows the count of the number of ratings of each beer, so we'll get a sense of how many people are reviewing various beers. We're going to create a dashboard. It turns out that when you use chart widgets, they actually need to be inside of, and there may be other ways to do this, but what I'm going to do is just add actually an entity called dashboard. So we have something. We don't really need that entity to do anything at this point, so it seems a little bit of a workaround. So I'm just going to create an entity, call it dashboard. In fact, I don't even need to store this entity, so it's persistable. I'll set it to no. It's not actually being stored in the database. It's just, at this point, I think, for what we're doing, a thing we need to do. And now we're going to create a page called dashboard, and that page will open up with a data view of a new temporary dashboard entity. So to do that, we add a page. I'll call it dashboard. It's not a pop-up layout. It is the default layout. And we'll make this blank. Click OK. And now, in order to open this, we're going to need to have a microflow that does that. And the reason is, so let's go ahead and add our data view here. So we have our data view. The data view is the data source is context, and the data we have is a dashboard. And again, this is a little bit of an empty exercise here. It's because the chart widget wants to be in a context, and we're not trying to have a chart for an individual beer page. We want a chart overall, so that's why we're doing this. Do we want to automatically fill the contents? No, there aren't any contents anyway. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually add a chart widget. If I scroll down here to add-on widgets, you see pie chart. So there are all kinds of charts, and you can experiment with them. But I'm just going to show you a first one to get you going. So we drag this in. We've got pie chart. If we double click on that, there are a number of different tabs, and you can explore these. I'm just going to do something very basic. And this would be a little different for the different kinds of charts. But here, what we have is our entity. And the entity is going to be beer, because beer is where we have our data of counts of ratings and so forth. And that's going to come from the database. And then for data points, for each wedge of pie, slice of pie, what do we use to name it? We'll use the beer name. What is the value we will use to decide how big the slice is? That will be the count of the number of ratings. And what is the sort? We don't need to, we're not going to worry about sort. So we click OK. So now the issue we have is we need to open this page. And since it's a data view, we need to create the dashboard object. So we're going to add a microflow, and we'll call it open dashboard. We'll click OK. And what open dashboard does is it creates a dashboard object. The reason the dashboard object is orange is we're not saving dashboard objects. We're just using it to get some context here. And again, if we were putting charts on specific pages for different beers, this would make sense. But here, this is just a thing we need to do. And then we're going to show a page. And the page we're going to show, we're going to pass in our new dashboard. The page is dashboard. And that should do it for that. So now we can go to navigation, and we're going to add, we could actually put this on the home page, but I'll add a new item right after home. the icon, I'll just put the magnifying glass, and this is going to call a microflow. Notice right now that we don't have any errors, and just watch what happens. When I pick the microflow and I call Open Dashboard and I click OK, we now get an error, and the reason is that, oh, and this, we better rename this from item to dashboard. And we get an error because we have to say which user is allowed to do this. We go to security. For the module, we go to microflow access. We can see we'll allow the dashboard for any user except an unlogged in user. Click OK. And we'll save. We'll run. So now we can view our app. We will log in as a brewer. We'll click here for dashboard, and we'll see Bud Light is the only thing that has reviews at this point. So let's fix that. We're going to go here to Rolling Rock. We'll add a review. We'll say 5, clean and refreshing. And then just to kind of add a few more, I'm just going to, these won't have any text in them, but we'll add a bunch. So at this point, you have the basic idea. We'll add one more, and you can get going on this right away. But if you want to see one more, why don't we add a bar chart? And the bar chart will be showing the averages and comparing them in a bar chart. Okay, so we'll do bar chart. You see all the different chart options. So I'll drag that there. Double click on bar chart. Chart properties, grouped or stacked, is not going to apply for us right now. Okay, add series and configure their properties. So we have a single series. You can have more than one. And this series name will be average rating. The entity we're using is beer. Okay. The data points, the X access data attribute, we'll put a beer name, and yes, because this is a bar chart and it's horizontal, the y-axis is going to be the name, and then the x-axis is going to be the average rating. We won't put a sort in. Click OK. Okay, so since we could have more than one series, we have to have an overall label for our X and Y axes. And we'll leave all these other things set. Click OK. Don't have any errors. I'm shocked. Really shocked. Let's run this. Save. Okay, it's already started. Let's go to our dashboard and see if it worked. Okay, so we have a little large, and you could tweak that, and there's some adjusting that needs to be done in terms of how these things are set up, and you can experiment with that, but this is the basic idea of how you would set these up. And you can do a lot. You can do very sophisticated things, but this is just a way to get in the game.